Welcome back. My name is Stacy Rowland. Today we're going to talk about the solar plexus, and we're going to talk about intuition. Now the solar plexus is a nerve bundle just below the sternum. It's inside the body cavity and is just in front of the kidneys and the adrenal glands. One of the things that the solar plexus does is it receives and sends information to and from the organs. In states of fear, we hear this term flight or fight. Basically, at that point, if we enter that flight or fight stage of fear, then the solar plexus is no longer going to be sending and receiving information to the organ system. In states of fear, you hear about people losing bowel function, urinating because they got scared. And it's because the solar plexus changed gears. It's no longer an organ function, so the organs evacuate themselves, and instead now the solar plexus is sending and receiving information, mostly sending, to the adrenal glands. Now the adrenals, of course, produce adrenaline. And in this state of flight or fight, that signal goes down into the legs where we're basically going to either run or we're going to start kicking. And that is our panic. That's our flight or our fight. In states where we're not in fear, and in this case, basically I'll use the term chakra here. Our solar plexus chakra is open. We're expressive. We are free, and that's definitely a state that is opposite of fear. And so avoiding fear, moving ourselves out of those states of fear, basically means, are you free to express who and what you are in a positive way? And when the solar plexus is free from the emotional entanglements, then it can work more properly. Another thing that can happen is that the tissue around the solar plexus is tight. And just as the last video we discussed breathing, this is one of the things that breathing can affect. Because the diaphragm is just above the solar plexus, as the diaphragm moves, all the fascia beneath it that's connecting the organs and the solar plexus itself through these lines of fascia that basically hold everything in place. Those tissues can relax, and so the solar plexus can move more freely, and if it can move more freely, then it's free for it to, again, send and receive information. Imagine what's called a pinched nerve. If you have a tight, it's called your scalene. If your scalene muscles, there's 3 of them, are tight, then there's a chance that you're going to get a pinch in your brachial plexus and start maybe losing sense in your hands. You might go numb in some of your fingers. And that's from the tightness in the neck. That can also have to do with the spine itself. But now we're talking about a nerve plexus down here called the solar plexus, and the same thing can occur. Tight tissues can affect how the nerves send and receive signals. Now, how this relates to intuition. So this is all just hubbub. There's no fact that comes with this. At least it's not fact yet. I'm a fan of Nikola Tesla, and one of the things that he mentioned that you see a lot in memes is that once we start perceiving or identifying the world as vibration, it's going to change how we view science, how we relate to the world. I'm a believer that everything sends out a signal. Every individual sends out a signal, and events send out signals. Now, an event is a moment in time. and we imagine time as this linear movement through time in one direction. And I'm going to imagine that an event in time sends a signal out in both ways down that timeline. And I say that for this reason. You may have an intuitive feeling, an intuitive sense about an event that hasn't happened yet. How could that happen? Unless there's a signal that is projected from that event. And I'm thinking that it's possible. I'm going to even say likely. I'll let science figure it out. But I'm going to say it's likely that because of the event and its signal to everybody that was involved in that event, it's going to hit you as an individual. And it's going to hit your entire being. But it's not going to come as sound. It's not going to come as sight or flavor or smell, because that's not what it is. But your organ system is this fluctuating, moving, oscillating, soft, system in the body that is surrounded by a soft body wall. When an event happens that you visualize, that you see, you often, and I'm speaking for myself, I think it happens to a lot of people, we get this tightening of the abdomen. The abdomen contracts to protect you, me, us. When I see somebody fall, I get this retching feeling running up my body as though I fell. Now, likely, that's mirror neurons up in the brain. We're going to talk about that in a future video. But it still has an effect on the body. In the case of seeing somebody fall, the event causes the mirror neurons to then affect the body. In these other circumstances, again, it's cause and effect. There's an outside cause, and the effect is that it affects the body in some way. Now, another thing it could be is our biome. We talk about gut biome when it talks about health. When we talk about health, we're talking about mental health. A healthy gut biome, having a lot of microorganisms, healthy microorganisms in the digestive tract, actually positively affects your well-being, your mental clarity, your mental health. There's a lot of cases of depression where they're seeing very unhealthy gut biomes. And so, again, later on, we're going to talk about that. For today, simply intuition and simply the solar plexus. Are we listening to the gut biome? Are we listening to the organs? I honestly don't know. But it is what we call a gut feeling for a reason, and so we got to start somewhere with our dialogue. That gut feeling then moves up into the brain, and we respond. Either we ignore it or we don't. In all honesty, I'm going to tell you, listen to your intuition. The times I haven't, I found out why. The times I have, I can't say that I know why. And here's a theory. If your intuition tells you something and you have this gut feeling to say, not leave early for work, maybe, and again, this is all theoretical, maybe it was you that was in the intersection at the time of the collision. Maybe you put yourself in the wrong place. But because you listened to your intuition, you weren't in that place at that time. And so nothing happened. And so intuition is one of those things we have an easy chance of dismissing, but we shouldn't. Again, more likely than not, when we don't listen to our intuition and we act anyway, that's when we go, oh, we roll our eyes. Yeah, I should have listened to my intuition. And I'll tell you from personal experience, that's exactly what's happened to me. And so I listened to my intuition. But here's something that I want to share, and here's why. Because I believe that intuition is a solar plexus function, by listening to either the organs or the biome, the two things that I do is I breathe deeply to relax the solar plexuses and the tissue around it, relaxing the organs so that they function in ways that benefit my health, but now, perhaps, theoretically, maybe in this non-ordinary way that perhaps the organs function in. And I take a lot of probiotics. I make kimchi, I make sauerkraut, I make kombucha, I make kefir. I take in a lot of different things to elevate my population of probiotics in my digestive tract. And so, again, is that going to help? It may not help intuition. That might be all bullcrap. But it's going to help my health. And so I do it. It's going to help my state of mind because I do it. Or not because I do it, but that's why I do it. And so, yeah, we'll talk about that maybe later. But for now, here's a thought. And I want you to start with an experiment. I want you to focus, just for a moment, on the big toe of your right foot. I want you to think about it. I want you to imagine being able to go inside of the big toe of your right foot. And I want you to feel the big toe of your right foot. And I want you to get a sense of what it feels like. Notice what it is that you're sensing. Now it's easy just to, again, dismiss and say, well, now that my awareness is there, I'm noticing the big toe of my right foot. And you're exactly right. But that's not something to dismiss. That is something to harness. Something, again, we're going to talk about later. Today, we're going to talk about moving the mind into the solar plexus. It's not going to feel like your big toe. It's not a sensory organ. It's a perception organ. It perceives information from the digestive system. That information then goes up into the brain and is processed. A lot of that information is organ health. What is the spleen doing? What is the pancreas doing? Is the spleen receiving information about perhaps some pathogen in the bloodstream, and it has to now produce more white blood cells? What's going on in the body? Is the pancreas producing more sugars? Is the stomach processing too much stomach acid, or not enough, or just enough? All those biological functions, as well as potentially, theoretically, receiving information from external sources. Again, because everything vibrates. We don't know. There's really no way to know at this point in our lives what about any of this is true. Things we can pretty much know, because we've all had stories about it, is that we tell ourselves intuition is a gut feeling. And you should listen to your intuition. And there's a reason why. If it's true that your guts are communicating, it's your solar plexus that you should listen to and listen with. And I use listen loosely because it's definitely not sound. It is a sense, it is a perception, And by moving your mind into your solar plexus, utilizing that structure to your benefit, you are going to receive more information about what's happening around you. And that's how you're going to harness your intuition. Again, things that might hamper your intuition: fear, organ imbalances, biome deficiency, stress. Yeah, those are biggies. Our body's not going to function the same way, and so opening it up, as again, thinking about it as a chakra, not so much a projection as much as an expression. Express yourself, express your being, be free to speak your mind, speak your truth, be who you are. Those are ways that you're going to free that system up, and so you're going to be able to utilize and use your intuition much, much better. So I think that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for paying attention for this. Again, it's all theory, but I'm okay with that. And I'm okay with sharing things that I don't know for sure, things that science cannot prove yet. But I'm willing to present them. I'm willing to argue my point. I'm willing to listen to counter arguments. It's just what it is. And yeah, so Wizards Workshop up here, wizardsworkshop.com is where you can find my website, where I am producing self-help audios, and those you can buy on the site, and check out some of my other stuff. Have a beautiful day, and be joy. Have a joyous, fun day, and yeah, I'll see you again. Thanks for watching.